What's up, guys? So chapter 387 is out. A lot to talk about. But so we find out that there's this two factions in the dwarf community that they have, and they've been fighting and killing each other, trying to one up each other and stuff like that. And so there's Silvershale, and then there's also Carnelian. Carnelian is Micah's dad, so we finally get to see who Micah's dad is, so that's cool. And they're kind of having this like debate about how things have been going, who sold out who, and all this other stuff. And so it's, they got a lot of people there. You got Helen's there, you got Micah's there, Arthur's there, and probably some of the other advisors and people that was like in the sanctuary with Virion. But they're all there, and they've been talking for like 5 hours, which is kind of crazy. That's been going on for so long. What we find out is that the dwarves are actually upset with the fact that they let the Alacrians, and we found out that some of the dwarves actually left too. They let them go and use the teleportation gate to go back to Alacria, and so they're upset and mad about that. But then they also let some of the dwarves actually, who was very, very committed and loyal to Alacria, they left with him too. So not only did they leave, or did they allow Alacrians to leave, but also the dwarves to leave too. So that's actually pretty crazy that some of the dwarves was just so loyal that it was like, nah, we're not about to stay here. We're going with Alacria. Agrona's gonna treat us better. So that's interesting. But that all happens. Arthur has a conversation with Gideon. So correct me if I'm wrong about this ring, okay? So Gideon gets this ring, the black ring from Arthur. And so Arthur gives him this black ring and says he's gonna study it and find out everything he can about it. I don't remember this ring. I know that he has the sphere, the dead relic that he ended up using Aurora's Requiem to bring it back to life, and that's what he's using, the sphere, and that's what he's using to open the gate to get to the relictums. And so I'm not familiar with this ring, but Gideon's going to study it and find out what he can about it. So we'll eventually find out what he learns about the ring and whatnot. I'm just not really familiar with the ring. I don't really know where it came from. So maybe you guys can kind of fill me in on this ring, because I have no clue. But so we finally get a conversation about why they didn't go to the relictums. Why are they still in the tunnels? So Regis and Art is having this conversation, and Regis is with me like, yo, we should have gone to the relictums. It makes more sense. And so I'm trying to follow Arthur's his form of thinking. He says that he didn't go to the relictums because he didn't want to be seen as the people's master, right? And he said that not only could it be some sort of asylum, to keep them safe, it also can be a cage as well. And so my thinking is, how would it be a cage? You're protecting them from the Asuras because they can't get in there. But he said that he'll be a master to the relictums. But I don't really understand how he'd be looked at as a master, because he's not keeping people there against their will. He can open up the gate using the sphere, have them all be in there, and then if anybody wants to leave or they want to do whatever, he'll let them go. Because I was thinking about it, like, that's probably the only way he can get to where he want to get to, because the only other way is to go through the Alacrians gates. But the Alacrians gates, when they go through them and they open them up, it's random, so they don't know where they're going to go. Arthur's the only one that can say, oh, I can envision this place and be like, okay, I want to go there and go there. So he can easily just let people leave if they want to leave. I don't know why he thinks that he's going to be a master. He's going to be just like Kezis and Agrona, thinking that he know what's best and he's going to control everything. No, you don't have to control everything. Just, you're going to keep them safe. I just don't think this tunnel is going to work out, man. Like, it just don't really make any sense. And so Regis is with me. I'm with Regis. So we'll see kind of what happens. But Regis, once again, is bored. He's always bored. So he goes off and just tries to tour the area, try to figure out what's going on there. Then we move on from there to Arthur. Arthur's leaving, trying to escape all the madness and all the craziness. So he goes to these like hot springs, and so he's just chilling there. And you know, then Ellie finds him, and we find out that she found him because she can use her beast will to smell him. I guess he's got some type of smell that Arthur only has. So she's able to smell him now. So that's interesting. But yeah, Arthur was just trying to do some training. I mean, not even really trying to do no training. He was just mostly just kind of like at peace almost, you know? Like he likes to be in the Keystone to kind of just stay there, chill, be in the blackness and whatnot. So Ellie's still wondering, you know, why isn't he really around, you know, mom and stuff, and you know, they start to have a conversation about that. And so obviously there's still tension with Arthur and his mom Alice. And so you know, he doesn't really know how to handle that and like know what's best. But Ellie explains to him, you know, that she really does want to, you know, fix things between them. I mean, and when it comes to their tension and whatnot, I mean, it just has to be from, you know, everything that happened previously, you know, with him, you know, thinking that he's dead, and then how things happened, how things got left off with, you know, his dad dying, Reynolds ended up dying, and you know, the whole promise that he made, and then, you know, telling him about, you know, Gray and his past life and whatnot. And so, you know, his mom was still trying to come to terms with that, and then, you know, with Reynolds dying, this kind of just made everything. Then they really needed him. They really needed Arthur to be there for him when Reynolds had died, and he wasn't, you know. And so it's just a lot of stuff that is, how would I say, unfinished dialogue, I guess, you know, that just, it hasn't been figured out yet, you know. So here's the interesting part, because I was wondering where this was all going to lead to, and so it actually leads to what I thought it was going to lead to, which is Arthur learning more and gaining some insight into the ether arts. And so the way it worked out was Art needed help with the Keystone, and so because his sister is able to manipulate pure mana, he's able to see it in the Keystone, right? And so it's also really interesting. Here's another part. It's also really interesting is that she hasn't developed an affinity towards any element at all. Not earth, water, fire, wind, nothing. She's just strictly using pure mana. And the way that Arthur explains it is that she's doing what an augmenter does, which is using her mana core and withdrawing mana from a mana core. But she's also doing what a caster does, which is like expelling the mana away from her body, right? So she's like kind of part caster, part augmenter, even though Arthur labels her a caster, but she's kind of got both, because she draws in the mana from her core and not her and not the atmosphere like a regular caster does. And so I'm thinking that she's kind of like a deviant almost, because it's kind of the same thing with her mom, is that when she's using her healing spells, she's using her mana from her mana core. She's not using mana from the atmosphere. So it's really interesting, like exactly as she gets stronger and her mana core develops, like, okay, so we know that she's able to make these different shapes, right? The last time we knew was that she can make like the arrows, she can make like different stars and squares, and she can just shape her mana to whatever she wants. Now she's able to like make more complex figures, you know. So she makes Sylvia when she was a kid, or in her human form. So she makes Sylvia, then she makes Sylvia as a dragon, and then the dragon can move. She makes a bear, the bear can move. So I'm wondering exactly where this is going to develop into, you know, because if she gets, I'm pretty sure as her mana core develops, it's going to get easier and easier for her to be able to manipulate her pure mana, and maybe she can use mana shapes to like make different creatures that can like fight for her or something. Like I don't even know. Like she can go to a lot of different places when it comes to her mana and stuff. So I mean, we don't really know exactly what it's gonna look like, but she's gonna get better and better with manipulating the mana that she has. I mean, she can already move and make animals and stuff like that. She probably can make bigger stuff, maybe more complex movements, and start jumping. Shoot, maybe she can make a pure mana creature that can fly, and she can like ride on top of it and start, you know, like who knows what she can do. Like it's pretty crazy to think about. But anyway, so she's helping Arthur with the Keystone Insight, and so he's able to see the mana, her pure mana inside the Keystone. But he soon realizes that he needs to be connected to his physical body and the Keystone at the same time. Because normally he just X's out the Keystone and then he goes back to his physical body. But he's trying to figure out a way to be able to have access to his physical body while still in the Keystone. So as time goes on, he's trying to, you know, slowly but surely, he's able to kind of feel the Keystone in his hands in his physical body. Then he's able to open his eyes in the physical body. Now he's able to talk while he's in his physical body and still in the Keystone. He's doing all this without exiting the Keystone. And so this is giving him more control over, okay, I can do all this. And then now his next step was that he needs to be able to push out ether from his physical body while he's still in the Keystone. And so he first tries to do it, and he can't really keep the consciousness of like the physical body and the Keystone at the same time while trying to push out ether. So he like loses control of it and he can't do it. And so he's like trying over and over and over again. So I'm guessing this takes a long time. But after a while, he's able to push out ether from his physical body while still staying conscious in the Keystone. And then once that happens, everything begins to change. So after he does that, things begin to change. And so he realizes what he needs to do, right? And so here's the quote. It says that a picture that is two things at once with the negative space of one image creating the other. That's what he realizes. So he's able to see the ether and also see the mana at the same time. And so the way that he explains it is that he's able to now sense the shape of the mana in between the ether. Once he learns how to do that and he's able to recognize that, everything makes more sense. His rune activates, and now he has the ability to see the ether now, and he can see mana at the same time. So he can now see the mana in the atmosphere, and not even just in the atmosphere, see it. He can now sense mana, which is what he's been lacking and what has been a big problem for him now. But now he can sense mana. And here's another thing that's really crazy about it, is that not only can he sense mana, but he also realizes that the insight that he has for his new ether art is incomplete. And that's because the Jinn only was able to get so far. They wasn't able to maximize the potential of this ether art. He instantly learns that. So now he knows that he can make that even better. So what is going to happen from here as far as where this is going to go and like how he's going to maximize the potential of this ether art, we don't even know, man. It's pretty wild. But we know that now he can see mana. He can sense mana. It's now available to him now. And so I'm wondering, will he soon be able to manipulate the mana the same way that he can manipulate ether back when he had Realm Heart? So when he had Realm Heart, he could like manipulate the ether a little bit, but now I'm wondering is that he gonna be able to manipulate the mana now when he uses his new God rune. So man, he leveling up now, man. He leveling up. We don't know exactly where it's gonna go, but it's looking good for him now, because once he gets control of mana, man, it's just like, I mean, the sky's the limit at this point, because if you control ether and you control the mana, bro, it is gonna be crazy. But yeah, so we ends on that. He names the ability Realm Heart, which I think is cool because it's the same ability. He can see ether and see mana at the same time, so that makes a lot of sense. And so man, it's good, man. But this chapter was a really good chapter. I really like this chapter. I will give this chapter a 8.5 out of 10. Really enjoyed this one. I'm really curious to see what all he can do with this ability. You know, hopefully they continue on and we're able to see exactly what he does and, you know, some of the limits that he can push the ability to get to. So, I mean, yeah, it's dope. It's really dope. But that's it. That's it for me. I do plan on making another video this upcoming week. So stay tuned for that. It's not gonna be about the chapters or anything, but yeah. So I'm gonna do that, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.